Hello, my dear viewers. I'm Kristine, and in this video, I'm going to show you my Toastmasters speech about accent diversity. I delivered it during an online Zoom meeting in the middle of the pandemic. Go check it out. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, guests. My name is Kristine from the UECP Toastmasters Club. I feel so glad to see all of your radiant faces tonight. You all look fantastic. I hope you are ready to listen and pay attention to my speech tonight. I hope that by the end of this speech, y'all will end up saying, that speech sure wasn't a waste of time and attention. Boy, what just happened there? Did any of you notice something strange in the way I delivered my greeting lines? Can you tell how it is different from a normal speech delivery? Well, I think it's too obvious for you not to notice. Yes, you're right. I just used 5 different accents when I delivered my greeting lines. Now let me ask this. Would you be able to tell which country I was born and raised by just listening to how I speak? Was there an accent that sounded easier to understand? Did you have your favorite accent that gave you a good feeling when you heard it? Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I am presenting you a research-based speech that talks about accent diversity. Let me just first define what accent is. According to Patrice D. Ingram, Associate Professor of Agricultural and Extension Education at the Pennsylvania State University, accent is how an individual pronounces a given language. An accent includes a combination of consonants and vowels and prosodic features including duration, rhythm, stress, pitch, intonation, and loudness. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this topic in the context of Toastmasters. When this pandemic forced Toastmasters Club meetings to be done online, what opportunity do you think it opened? What did you notice was different? If you ask me, during the first time I joined an online Toastmasters meeting as a guest, I started hearing different accents. I was like, oh, it's time to adjust my tiny little ears so that I can get used to hearing diverse accents from these Toastmasters members who came from different parts of the world. I must learn how to understand unfamiliar sounding English. Thus, it is important for me to learn to accept accent diversity, or I will end up alienating those who speak English in a way that is different from what I'm used to hearing, namely the Filipino and American accent. This pandemic opened a great opportunity for us to observe the beauty of accent diversity, especially now that we have the chance to invite members not only from other clubs here in the Philippines, but also members from clubs from other countries. Yes, we share one language, which is English, but we speak with different accents. How do we survive? How do we maintain harmony with this type of diversity? Isn't this a challenge we need to address? Well, let me address 3 main points that will help our community thrive not only in the midst of adversity, but also in the midst of accent diversity. To address this, we need to answer this question. What are the advantages of accent diversity? I believe that one of the advantages of having accent diversity is that it allows us to adapt to our environment and learn cross-cultural adaptation. According to a May 2012 study of an ethnically diverse team in a multinational company in Sweden by Decca Ferra and Valentina Vunicki. They have quoted, "We noticed in the analysis a second new competence that team members needed to possess to build cross-cultural communication competence, which was cross-cultural adaptation. With cross-cultural adaptation, we refer to team members' ability and willingness to change to the current environment and its requirements, to accept cultural differences and change their behavior if needed." Both the leader and team members mentioned that they had to change, accept, and adapt a lot in the beginning, referring to the culture, environment, and behavior. They felt that they needed to change the way they worked before, hence change the way they communicate. So this study shows that allowing accent diversity or mixing up people with different cultural backgrounds helps us to adapt and display cross-cultural competence. Now let's move on to the second advantage of accent diversity, which is that it helps reduce discrimination. The more we get used to the company of people who use different accents, the more we reinforce the idea of equality. Like there is no right or wrong and good or bad accent. In a December 30, 2018, Forbes article written by Dr. Pragya Agarwal, who is an inclusivity consultant, behavioral scientist, TEDx speaker, author of Sway, Unraveling Unconscious Bias, she noted that in order to minimize accent discrimination in the workplace, one of the things that can be done is to create inclusive workplace practices. We must all make a conscious effort to look beyond prejudices relating to the delivery of a message to the actual content of that message. It is important that we keep all communication as inclusive and non-judgmental as possible. Simply asking a speaker to slow down, asking for clarification of anything we find ambiguous, and asking a speaker to confirm whether or not a paraphrase of what they just said genuinely matches up with what they meant establishes a strong foundation for respect and understanding. The second thing that can be done is to create diverse teams and workplaces. It is important to incorporate more team members from diverse linguistic background. This will ensure that everyone is more acclimatized and adapted to varied accents. This will heighten multilingual sensitivity, which might reduce the ethno-linguistic notion and accent hierarchies. Wouldn't it be nice if we learned to stop judging a person by his or her accent? Now let me talk about the third advantage of accent diversity, which is being able to enjoy speaking the English language without the feeling of needing to be perfect. In a podcast transcript from Influency podcast website, Hader, the podcaster, said, "If you truly let go of this idea that there is such a thing as perfect English, it gives you permission to be yourself, to speak, to communicate without that police officer in your head, judging and criticizing and catching every single mistake. That's no fun. And communication is all about joy and connection. If you can't do that, then what's the point? It's just a matter of decision, and you need to make it. So it takes the pressure off yourself if you feel accepted in an accent diverse environment. Now, to summarize what I've discussed today, here are the 3 advantages of accent diversity. It helps us learn cross-cultural adaptation. It helps reduce discrimination. And it helps us enjoy speaking English without feeling we have to be perfect. My fellow Toastmasters, our God allowed us to have the gift of having one universal language, which is English, so we can use it globally for effective business communication, trading, and getting in touch with people from different cultures. Wouldn't it be a better world if people are treated with respect and equality despite their differences in accents? Imagine if we do not have to worry about feeling ashamed because of our natural accent. Then we won't need to hold back from freely expressing ourselves, showing the world who we are, and allowing them to see the great things we can offer. Good evening. So there you have it. I hope that you got some takeaways. And if you have some comments and opinions about accent diversity, you can leave it in the comment section down below. You have a blessed day. Ciao!